In 2022, would you say is the gang culture negative or positive as far as for the urban culture as a whole?
I think that the positive aspects of gang culture is not promoted. You don't see it. You don't see positive representations of it. So that leads one to believe that it's all about murder and destroying a community. And though that's all at a certain age, that shit is not.
But the murder and the destruction, is it a part of it?
It's a level and a phase at a certain age, but no, that's not the end all be all of what it is to be in a gang. No.
But ultimately, all in all, would you say that gang culture is an asset or a liability to black culture?
I think that as with all things, man, it's good and it's bad. But for the most part, I think that we haven't been able to take this shit to the highest levels due to there being a concerted plot to keep that from happening, man. And when people just not really aware of like history and what type of shits is being actually done to keep us from ever realizing any real power, it's gonna always come off as just niggas just be making excuses to be on some dumb shit and be in gangs. But the reality of it is, unimpeded, if the government had just dealt with niggas as they was being dealt with and let them out of prison and shit, we probably would have been some of our most charismatic, best people that was in gangs, started gangs and all of this shit. Man, they never are able to get out of prison.
Yeah.
Man, what you think, what would the Crips nationwide, what would it look like if Tookie Williams had been allowed to get out of jail? What would that look like? What would Gangster Disciples, what would that have looked like if Larry Hoover was able to have gotten out in his 60s? Nobody's still doing gangster shit really in their 50s, 60s and whatnot. What kind of change would he have been able to affect if Jeff Fort would have been able to get out? You know what I'm saying? Right now he's like in his pushing 80. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not allowed to cycle out, but they gangsters. When I say they, I'm talking about American gangsters, white boys and shit like that. Italians Jewish, and all of that. As Mafia. They get out, man, these people is creating they got the tri-state area locked down on the sanitation and waste management and all of that type of shit. They say
it's a lot of snitching in that type of stuff.
Let me tell you, I'm finna break it down about this snitching shit.
Break it down, man.
Man, snitching is in the game.
It's a part of the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the game.
Explain.
What I'm trying to say is, if you put us all in a room, 10, 12 of us, and they offering whatever they offering that's a negative thing, and they offer to lessen that negative thing to whoever is going to be the one to tell, somebody in this room is going to tell.
Yeah.
Here's the difference between blacks, whites, and by whites I mean English people or people of English descent, as opposed to just Caucasians, you know what I'm saying? Man, white people forgive each other. They forgive each other for doing foul, fucked up shit to each other. And they get back to the business. You know what I'm saying? They don't give it it's a such thing as Hitler and all of that kind of shit. But these white, here's the greatest example of it. America had a fucking civil war.
Yeah.
They literally fought and killed each other and got back together. They arrested niggas like Jefferson Davis and people like that from the Confederate Army that was riding and plotting and going against them. They released them, let them go back. Them niggas went back home and crunk they shit right back up. They businesses, they families, whatnot. Even though they literally went against the Union, the American government. They freed the niggas that went against them.
Yeah.
Blacks, we ridicule. We got niggas that ratted, that was some of the smartest, most influential charismatic, powerful people in the neighborhoods, right? Who, when faced with some opposition, they folded. Cause they didn't want to, cause they all of the shit that you want to say, they wasn't honorable. They didn't take care of their business. They wasn't stiff. They compromised their gangster shit. I'm down with all that. I ain't never read it. I never will. If I participate in something, I'm down with the consequences of it. That's the way I rock. However, it would be foolish not to take the lessons from the individuals that have done such a thing, like and not like you gotta be able to. We gotta be able to do foul shit to each other, understand, let people move past that shit, and still be able to work together. Cause if not, it's just gonna keep being what it is right now, man. We don't have no type of solidarity and togetherness because we don't know how to forgive, man. And it's just that shit's stupid in a motherfucker. Everybody forgiving each other but us. Yeah. I promise you that. And you can look historically, you can look at any kind of way you want to look at it. Everybody forgiving each other but us. We don't forgive each other.
For sure.
Yeah.
But, okay, so into a more progressive state, if we could get to a point where forgiveness gets better and we could become more progressive as a people.
I'm saying Italians, they some snitching.
Are the gangs, our Crips and the Bloods, the GDs, the Vice Lords, BDs, all that, is all of that an asset to black people progressively?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
And why? Why though?
One day, the reason why the government criminalizes that shit to the extent that it does is because of what it can one day become. It's a fear of gangs based on, damn, these niggas is collectivizing. They niggas is coming together. They got a color, ideology, a understanding that they all trying to subscribe to. They down to kill for this shit, blah, blah, blah. When you start laying that out, that's the groundwork of revolution. So these people don't want to see that shit. That's why they criminalize it. If you fuck with it, if the shit just allowed to just kind of go on its own, what ends up happening to that shit is it turns into a military coup. It turns into political power. They don't want us to have political power. You know what I'm saying? They shit, Republicans and all of that shit, Democrat, that shit gang shit that they done allowed to go all the way to the highs. Freemasons and all of this shit. This shit started out as some gangster shit because it always is a situation between haves and have-nots. Inside of the haves is an old gang that made it. Have-nots is a new gang that's starting. As when the have-nots is goddamn coming together to try to have a little something, then as we start coming together doing our thing or whatnot, and having and making some leeway or whatever, where are we trying to go? We trying to go up here to where the haves is. The haves is automatically against that. So what do the haves do? They pay. They start to they looking for somebody inside of them have-nots to flip. If I can give you some money or if your name is Rick Ross, if your name is Johnny Binder, if your name is whatever it is coming up out of them neighborhoods with the ability to rally the people and whatnot, I'm going to feed you whatever to poison that community, drugs, guns, alcohol, blah, blah, blah. If you start to show that you understand that I'm doing this and you don't want to do that, then I'm going to put your bitch ass in prison or I'm going to kill you, man. I'm treating Malcolm X the same way as I'm treating Martin Luther King, the same way as I'm treating Tookie Williams, the same way as I'm treating Larry Hood. I'm treating all of you niggas with the ability to gather blacks into an understanding and all of that shit. I'm treating you like criminals, man. Ask Farrakhan. All of you niggas that got that ability to bring folks together, man, I'm finna fuck over you. And as a testament to how charismatic and powerful these dudes is, they gangs still exist. Long after the inception of when it started. See, that's the way they looking at that is like, they see the fact that these gangs are still around. That's how you know we did a good job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Them 80s crack gangs that popped up that was called such and such team and all of that type of shit. We slammed that. They created laws for that shit super fast. Yeah. Y'all mixing money with teamwork and all of that type of shit. We don't like to see y'all do that shit. Anything like that is gonna get criminalized. Yeah. Money and teamwork. They not trying to. becoming an organization, working together on some street shit. You know what I'm saying? Hell no. Because they know what they did with that shit. When they was in that position like that, they created America up out of that shit. They was in the streets of motherfucking over there at the old world. They came over here with this motherfucking shit, and once they got a little taste of, man, we can create our own rules and thug it out. And when the queen the crown started sending people over here to collect them taxes, eventually they said, man, fuck that, we ain't paying. Once they got strong, they said, fuck that, we ain't paying, and they went to war.
So you believe it's a misinterpretation through the media and all other type of forms of the way gangs are perceived, especially in the black community?
I'm telling you, they characterize it as without looking at the
Even
reason.
in 2022 though, look
in
at the activity
2022,
now,
they not showing you we don't look at the whole picture. We look at the symptom and we say, man, that's fucked up. Yeah. That nigga went in there and killed that nigga PNB Rock. He lined to be a whatever gang he lined to be in. See what it is? Gangs is the problem. They not saying the conditions that create gangs. It's the same all over the motherfucking world. I done told you. Anytime there is a wealthy class, a political class that's in between, and then a poor class. Yeah. Out of the poor class, it's gonna be a such thing as gangs, man. Poor class is what create gangs. Yeah. And out of them gangs, there's gonna be the wealthy is gonna pay the political, whether it be by lobbying or whatever, to goddamn influence the masses to look at the gangs as the problem. Like, why are these motherfuckers? Do you see where gangs is created from? Do you look at the places, the zip codes, the housing and everything that goes into the schools, the hospitals, and everybody that's serviced in these areas, these low income areas? I ain't talking about just here, I'm talking about all over the world. Look at the favelas in motherfucking Brazil, where the poorest people live. Look at Honduras, look at El Salvador, look at all of these different places where it's poor at. That's where you're gonna see MS-13. That's where you're gonna see 18th Street. That's where you're gonna see Mexican Mafia. Anywhere you see a wealthy class and a poor class with a political class in between, the politics of the shit is gonna be corrupt. The poor class is gonna have gangs and people that's victims. And then you're gonna see the political class trying to tell you that the real problem is the gangs, when the real issue is how the money is being distributed. Where is this money going to build up the communities that we in? You know what I'm saying? And when you see that shit, it's gonna be gang activity. It ain't got nothing to do with no motherfucking Tookie Williams. Them is just the individuals that crop out of that shit, that come up out of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying?